Welcome to lesson 73, greatest common factor, or as I have written on the board, GCF. And I want you to use those three words, greatest common factor, and what you've used previously in math, your knowledge, to solve problems that ask you to find the greatest common factor. And most often these problems look like they look on the board. They give you two numbers and they'll say to find the greatest common factor. Now remember, let's talk about those three words. Greatest is big, right? It's the high number. Factor, the last letter, are whole numbers that fit into another number. So the factors of 9, for example, are 1, 3, and 9. Don't all three of those numbers fit into 9? Okay. And common are when you find factors that fit into more than one number. Several numbers might have that factor in common. For example, we said 3 fits into 9. But doesn't 3 also go into an 18? That is a common factor. Those both have that number in common. Okay? So let's solve some of these problems. These two are in your homework, and I'm going to go ahead and solve them completely, and then I'll show you a shortcut in case some of you like to finish fast. So we've already said that 1, 3, and 9 are the factors of 9. And the way to finish these problems and do them completely and thoroughly is to write out all the factors of these numbers. So what are the factors of 18? 1, 2, 3, 6, 9, and 18. Lots of factors. All right. Now we use the three letters here. We found the factors. Which ones do they have in common? Well, they both have a 1, and sometimes students circle these. They both have a 3, and they both have a 9. 1, 3, 9. Now, the greatest. Which one's the greatest? 9. So when I'm looking for what is your answer, what's the greatest common factor between 9 and 18? It's 9. Okay, let's repeat that with 8 and 12. Now 8 has factors of 1, 2, 4, and 8. And 12 has factors of 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. Now which ones do they have in common? The C, the common. They both have 4s, they both have 2s, they both have 1s. And now the letter G for greatest. The greatest common factor they had was a 4. That is the answer. Now a little bit of a shortcut. Okay? Whenever you're looking for greatest common factor, the greatest common factor is never going to be higher than the lower number of the two. So an 11 will not work because 11 can never go into 9. Okay? 18 will not work because 18 can't even go into 9. It'll always be lower than the highest number. So this one was lower than 8 or equal to. And this one was actually equal to 9. So what you could do is first see, does that number go into the other number? If it does, then that's their greatest factor. Okay? And on this one, you can go 8 goes into 12. 8 doesn't go into 12, but start working down from there because you want the greatest one. So what other factors are in 8? Go down. 4. Does 4 go into 12? Yes. That's the greatest common factor. You can stop right there. Okay? Let's think of another one. Like, how about 7 and 56? Shortcut. Without writing all the factors, you know it can't be greater than 7. So does 7 go into 56? It does, 8 times, right? That's its greatest common factor. It has to be 7. So your answer is 7. If you were to work it out and find all the factors of 56, 7 would be the greatest one that matches 1 and 7, because 1 and 7 are the only factors of this number. Now, why are we doing greatest common factor? Because I like to torture my students. No. Greatest common factor is always used because it helps you reduce problems. And when you get into your work, like number 20, it says 20, or number 12, sorry, is 12 over 45, and they want you to reduce. Now the fastest way to reduce is to divide by the greatest common factor. Now, what's the greatest number that can go into 20 and 45. It has to be 20 or less. Now 20 won't fit, 10 won't fit into 45, but 5 will. So whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. Divide both by 5, you'll get 9 and 4. 4 ninths. Okay? Let's try that on one of the ones you had to do earlier, 8/12. All right. Reduce 8/12 by the greatest common factor. We already found out that it was 4, right? So let's divide by that greatest common factor, and you will get 2/3. That is the best answer for this problem. Now let's say you didn't know what the greatest common factor was, and you said, oh, they can both be divided by 2. Well, that is a very good first step. But look what happens when you get your answer, 4/6. Now you have to keep going again and divide it by another 2. And you get 2/3. The answer I had gotten before in one try. Now, I just want you to know, we're doing very basic low numbers. And yes, you might be able to find the common factor on your first try and solve it. That's excellent. Maybe it'll take you 2 tries. That's okay, as long as you get the right answer at the end. However, eventually, you're going to have huge numbers that need to be reduced. And using it, the greatest common factor, finding it and dividing it once, and having your number reduced in 1 try instead of 5 or 6 tries, is going to be a lot quicker. So finding the greatest common factor is very important, and I hope you use it to reduce your answers. If you have any questions, come and see me, and I would be glad to help. Thanks.